Alright, we just got live on our channel again. So today we're actually doing something which I think is pretty cool, and that is we're actually creating an app that, for an order that I got on Fiverr, as you can see, completely from scratch and live as well. So I haven't done anything on this app except for just create the project. As you can see, it's completely empty. And now what I'll do is I'll create this app. So the customer wants basically a very simple NFC app. All they're after is just a space where they can put a URL, a link, and once you click on right now, you just activate that to an NFC tag. So I actually have an NFC tag here with me. I've also got my real iPhone where we're going to be testing this app on, and we'll be able to basically finish this app in this video. Now I'm hoping to do this in, let's say, maximum half an hour, 40 minutes, but we'll have a look. So right now it is 11:24. Let's see if we can actually get this done before 12, and who knows, maybe I'll actually end up staying until like 2 or something. It's a very simple app, but we should do it. Now, just before we begin, I wanted to mention that the reason I'm doing this live is because a lot of people think you just sit behind the computer, you start working on an app, and you get it done. That's not the case. A lot of the time you'll get things done normally, but so many times you have to reference back to things that you've already created or search online because you forgot how to do a specific thing. So don't stress, you can watch me, you'll see how much I struggle sometimes, but at the end of the day, I'm gonna get paid for this. At the end of the day, I'm gonna still finish the job, and that's what matters. So let's get started. Now, what I'll do is I'll actually keep this over here, and we'll keep going back to the page and creating it. Now, the first thing I'll create, I'll just go from left to right, is the splash screen. So this is the screen that appears once you first launch the app for the first time. It appears for the second times as well, but it will just be really quickly. So let's get started on this. To do this, let's go back to the project, and we're gonna go to launch screen.storyboard, just like here. And over here, you can see that we can create, drag and drop some elements, which will just be added over here. Now, if we have a look, we have 2 images here that we're going to be adding. That is this NFC symbol, and also the customer's logo. So he already sent me the logo here, as you can see, and it's in my downloads. Oops. And it's in my downloads, just like here. So we're gonna go ahead and click on it, and let's go ahead and just try spot it. So if you spot it, just let me know. Okay. There we go. So it's right here. See, I'm already struggling with something so simple, like just finding out where it is. Okay, no problem. What I'll do is I'll just show in Finder. There we go. It's right here this whole time. So it's already open. What I'll do is I'll just take a screenshot of it, just up close, because if you realize we just need the text basically, otherwise we'll have that big image to try and play with and shape it where we want it. There we go, capture, and we've got it right here, and now it's just on our desktop. So what I'll do now is I'll go back and I'll minimize my project. I'll put it over here, and in order to use any images, we first need to add it into the assets folder. So I'm going to go into my assets folder, and now we've got the image just over here. I'm going to rename it to logo, and I'll drag and drop it over here. Beautiful. And now we've got it. Now what I can do is I'll just click on it just over here, and I always just go to where it says scales, and I set it up as single scale, and that means that it will use this image for the entire app. Let's go back to launch screen.storyboard and expand, and we're going to be adding 2 different things. We're going to be adding the image, so I'm going to search up image, drag and drop image view, and let's just quickly go back to our design here just to have a reference on what we're meant to do. So we're meant to have the logo on the top, sort of like in the center of the screen, and then this NFC icon as well. Let's go ahead and actually do this. So I'm going to click on the image view, I'm going to go to image, drop down, and I'll select our logo, and you will see that in just a second it's already changed the UI image view to our logo. There we go. Let's have a look at how big it was. I think this is the correct size, so I'll leave it as that. But now let's add another image. Underneath. And maybe this one we can actually make it a little bit smaller and a little bit boxy. And we can actually find a lot of symbols here that come with Apple, which I believe some of them will just be that sort of signal that we were after. So if I search up signal, or a better way to actually get this is, rather than trying to find it through here, I've downloaded the app here, which will allow us to actually just open it and go through it. So let's do that instead. I'm going to open the SF Symbols app, and we can have a look for signal, lines, Wi-Fi. Alright, let's, connection. Okay, let's just have a look then. And again, this is what I mean. Things are just not always so simple. Like, you don't just find things. You have to actually, even if you're experienced, I'm not actually finding any issues with the code. I'm just trying to find some content or like some UI to put there, and that can be a little bit difficult sometimes. Okay, all right, so let's just go back. This is what he wanted for now. So I think he's had 4 lines. Yep, 4 lines. But what's in front of me right now, the only thing I can find is 3 lines. So I'll actually use those 3 lines for now. And then at some point I'll show it to him, and then I'll let him know that, hey, I just couldn't find that one. We can technically find it on the internet, but usually I just get worried in case I find something for a customer that would get him in trouble, like if it's copyrighted or something like that. So I'll just use the things that I know for a fact will not get anyone in trouble, and then I'll let them know. If they complain, then I'll let them, alright, well, you need to just provide me this. So now that we've got this launch screen, what I will do is, because this is just a launch screen, I'll add constraints, but I'll just do it in a simple way. I'll go over to resolve auto layer issues, and I click on add missing constraints. And now if you click on it, it has those blue lines, and this just shows you that it will be adjusted to all the other iPhones as well. Now let's get into the real deal. We're gonna go to the main.storyboard, and this is where we actually add the UI of the actual app. So we want our first page. Basically, we're gonna have one page. Actually, we're gonna have this page, and basically we're gonna put the user is gonna put a URL, a link key. Once they click on right now, what will happen is that this NFC session will begin, and it will allow us to activate an NFC tag by simply bringing an NFC tag like this one to the back of the iPhone. Now you can see here that he also wrote some conditions, like if an error happens or if something is correct, writing was successfully, and that's basically what we're gonna do. Now if you notice here, we've got also an instructions page. So this is just a page that will appear the first time the app begins. I'm not gonna worry too much about showing this one now. For now, let's go ahead and just keep moving on the successful path that we've got here. And then once we actually finish that, we can go back and add these dotted lines and extra stuff as well. Alright, so let's get started. We want it to be like this. Let's go back, and the first thing I'll do is I'll add the image, text field, and then button. To do that, again, click on the plus sign. I'll search up for image view. I'll drag that one and I'll drop it somewhere over here. Let's go ahead and add text field like this. And finally, let's add a button. Now, you might be just wondering, why am I adding all of them instead of starting them first? I just think it's a good idea to just usually add everything you will be using on the screen, and then adjust where it looks like. That way you have a reference to sort of like where you are. So let's go back. We've got image just like this, text field, and button. And maybe to make things a little bit easier, I'm just gonna make this a little bit smaller. Actually, there's no point. Let's just go back. I was gonna try to put them next to each other so I'm always knowing what I'm doing. I'll click on this, click on image, click our logo. We've got it over here. And if you realize in the app, this time it's a little bit, or much smaller actually. I would say something like this. We can even make it a little bit bigger. And don't worry, you're not actually changing like the ratio of the app, so you, of the image. So you're still not like damaging the height or length. That remains equal. There we go. Looks good enough. Maybe it's actually a little bit higher. Now for the text field. Oops. Now for the text field, I'll just grab it to the edge and I'll stretch that until, I would say, from end to end. So that looks like it is from end to end, which means that we also need to make this image. The only issue is that the image is just needs to be cropped. So for now, let's just put it like this, and then we'll go back and actually do some image editing on this image. Alright, so we've got the text field here, and I'm actually gonna start that image, that text with some HTTPS like this, and that way it always starts with HTTPS ... And the reason you're asking why he added that at the beginning is because we're going to be adding URLs, a link to this NFC chip, and I'm assuming he wouldn't want the customer to the user of the app to accidentally forget to put the HTTPS, because most people forget that. Most people just put www. So I think that's why he added it there. So I'll do the same and just keep it there as well. Now if we look at here, the background seems to be black for the text field. So again, let's just click on the text field, and which means the text is white. So let's just get started by making the text white, which we won't be able to see for a bit. We can then come to background and make it black, and there we go. We're getting closer and closer to that look that he's after. Now we'll grab the button, and again, the entire app is almost or just at the top half of the screen. For the button, I would say it can be a little bit bigger, and we'll center it, so it'll be something like this. This needs to be a bit higher as well. And for the button, I'll change it to say right now. I can't remember if it was all in caps lock or if it was just normal, so let's just have a look. Right now. Okay. There we go. The background was black. The background was black. There we go. So now we've got something similar. Now, something you might just not realize is that over here, the button is a little bit curved. So we've already have this curved, but our text are not curved. So let's go ahead and also work on how to make it curved. Before anything, oh, there we go. I would say this sort of fixed the problem. We can also make it using some programming as well. So now that we've got the UI, I would say almost done, or actually done for this app. Like, it sort of looks exactly the same, except for the image, which we'll work on. What we can do is we can actually start working on some UI now. Some backend now. So what I'll do is I'll close this to make the actual screen bigger, and I'm going to click on assistant, and what I'll do is I'll click control and drag this to the top here, and I'll say URL text field connect, and I'll do the same to the button, except this time I'll do it over here, and I'll say right now button. There we go. Beautiful. Perfect. So what are we actually doing here? So when I drag this at the top, this means that I can reference back to the text field. So it means that I can basically say, okay, well, I want the text inside of this URL text field. And what I did for the button instead is, as you can see, once I dragged it, because I dragged it at the bottom here, we had these two brackets, and this now allows me to execute an action inside of these brackets. So anything inside of these brackets, when I click on them, it will happen. If I say print hello world, when someone clicks on this button, it will be printed as long as it's just between those two brackets. So Now that we're actually done with the UI, we can, I guess, focus just on the back end of this, like on the view controller.swift. So I'm just going to click on it to make it just bigger. There we go. And what we want to do is basically start working on the NFC functionality. Now I can do this myself. I have been doing it for a while, but I just want to show you that it's okay to actually reference back to a project that you've done before. And so to do this, what I'll do is I'll actually open another project that also uses NFC capabilities, and I actually done quite a lot of them, but let's say Poply, for example, or Smart Tap does have it as well. We can use that one. So there we go. And this code is basically responsible for generating an NFC session. So what I'll do is I'll just put these projects next to each other like this. Or actually, what we can do is, to make things look better, is I will go to business cards. I'll go to view controller, and I'll just open that on its own. There we go. And now we've got it. So I'll just open it on the left side. And let's make this one on the right side. I'll make this one like this, and that way we can just see what we did earlier. So the first thing we need to do in order to use core NFC is just import core NFC. So I'll say import core NFC, and then we're going to be adding a few different things like an NFC and the reader session delegate. So I'll come over here, I'll put a comma, and I'll say NFC NDEF reader session delegate. Now we're gonna also create a session like you can see on the right side here. And by the way, it will chuck some errors, don't worry about them, we're gonna fix that in a second. So I'll go over here and I will say var session NFC NDEF reader session, and I'll put a question mark. And then we're gonna do a few things after this. So the first thing I'll be doing is I'll actually be working on those functions that it's telling us we did wrong. So I'm just gonna add them, and we've got them here. Swift adds them at the top of the file. I just prefer adding them at the end, just like here. And now, because I already have them here, we're gonna go to them. So the first thing we've got is reader session, NFC, and the reader session did invalidate with error. And then we've got the same thing, but this one is just actually getting the message. Remember, we're also going to be writing, not reading, so things might be different. So for this one, I usually just leave the same just for now, because we're not collecting any messages, we're writing. But for that one, did detect tags, and it's actually not here at the moment, so let's actually write it ourselves. So I'm gonna go ahead and I will say func reader session, and here I will say session NFC NDEF reader session did detect tags, and inside of here I'll say NFC NDEF tag. I'll open and close a bracket so we can put some things inside. So now, what are we actually doing? Well, we're going to first get the text or the link that we want to put into the NFC tag. And because we just didn't create this yet, what I'll do is I'll simply say let str, standing for string, I'll actually write string, equal to, and I'll open and close a string, and I'll use string interpolation here, and I'll simply collect the text from the URL text field. So I'll be saying URL text field dot text. Now it might chuck an error here or something, and I can just say this. I don't know if that's actually an issue. There we go. And it's just telling you that you've basically created this, but you're not using it. We're about to use it in a second. So before anything, we need to do some things. First, we need to check if we actually detected a tag. So that's what we're doing in this line over here. We're checking, is the number of tags greater than 1? Have we actually collected a tag? So I'm gonna do this. We're checking if there's more than 1 tag, we're not gonna continue, we're gonna stop it. If there's only 1 tag, we're going to continue with the session. So I'll say if tags dot count is greater than 1. So if we detected more than 1 tag, we basically can't do our job. So we will say let retry interval equal to this patch time interval dot milliseconds 500, so that's 5 seconds. And then I'll say session dot alert message, and we will say more than 1 tag is detected. Please remove all tags and try again. And then we're actually going to stop the NFC session. So we'll say dispatch queue dot global dot async after deadline, and the deadline is now plus retry interval, and then we're going to say execute. Session dot restarting polling. There we go. And then we're actually going to return over here. Now I know this is just a lot of error handling, but it's definitely needed and it's worth it. So now what do we actually do if it's the other way around? If we do have the tag, well, we can go over here and I guess for this one we can actually just copy the code that I wrote, because it's basically exactly the same. Just like this. And we're gonna go over here and we'll just paste it. Just wait for all the errors to come in, and there seems to be no errors. Amazing. Okay, so we finished this part, we finished that function. Now we also need to make sure that we've got reader session did become active, and I think we've got that at the very beginning. So reader session, okay, well we don't have it. And reader session, and we've got this one. So reader func reader session did invalidate with error, and again I'm just gonna copy the stuff inside because I'm the one who wrote it. There we go. Beautiful. So now we've actually got our functions ready, but how do we actually start this session? Well, to do this, all we need to do is simply call for this session to begin. So if you recall, somewhere over here where it says start session, this is what we did. We started the session and then we gave it a message. And that message will be the one exactly here. Hold your iPhone near a writable NFC tag to update. So I'm going to go over here and I'll say session is equal to NFC endif reader session. For delegate, I'll put self. For the queue, I'll put nil. For invalidate after first read, I'll put false again. And then we'll say session dot alert message. And then I'll say the message that he basically asked for here, which is hold your iPhone near a writable NFC tag to update. So we'll say hold your iPhone near a writable NFC tag to update it. So hold your iPhone near a writable NFC tag to update. Just like this. And just the error message, because I want to make sure that we are getting it exactly the same form. So the error message is tag capacity too small, required this, and tag capacity this. And what do we actually have here? So we can actually close this for now. Okay, so we actually give the actual error message. I'm wondering if we should leave it like that form rather than giving this specific error message, because it could be something else. Either way, this error message will have it if it's actually too much. So I'll leave it like this. But the successful message here, we're mentioning this app where I read this for. So instead, let's actually write it the same, which is writing was successful. So I'll say writing was successful. Also make sure that your spelling is correct. I get this wrong all the time. Successful. Yep, we've got it right. Awesome. So how about we actually test this app on our iPhone to see if it's working or not? Well, let's do it right now. I will get my cable over here. And I'll connect my iPhone. And what I'll do is I'll actually select my iPhone once it just gets detected over here, which it's not. Oh, come on. I am connected. You can see it connected here. Alright, let's maybe disconnect, connect again. Also, just to let you know, with NFC apps, you actually can't test it on the simulator. It has to be a real iPhone. Hence why I'm trying to connect it to my iPhone. Well, let's have a look if my iPhone is actually visible at all to the computer. See, problems like this happen all the time. And they slow you down. You might see me again there. Hello. Logitech stream cam. Oh, you actually cannot see my iPhone. Okay. Okay, so you can't see my iPhone. Let's have a look at this. Let me first just remove my face from the screen so that you don't have to see me moving it around. And then, oh, okay. Yeah, it was not connected. Okay, let's do it that way. I will be connecting my iPhone now. And now if I click on this movie recording, hello again, you can see my iPhone now. Beautiful. There we go. And I guess I can put my face back somewhere. There we go. Like this. So now, if we go back to Xcode, you'll see that we've got my iPhone here, but it says deployment target is lower, so which means I have an update. I haven't updated to the latest version. So basically, I'll just come here, select an older version, and now if I run this app on my phone, we're gonna be able to see it. And I suspect something's gonna happen which I forgot to add, and that is adding some information to the user why I'm actually using NFC capabilities, because otherwise the app will actually crash. So let's have a look. It's running, and I guess the issue with going live is that you will have to be forced to actually see me waiting, rather than usually I would just cut this video so that you just see it. So let's have a look. Okay, it is running. Also, something else that I think will happen is we actually did not add any constraints to our UI, which means that if my iPhone's too much bigger than this or too much smaller, everything will just be jumbled up a little bit. So we'll have a look and then we'll decide if that's the case or not. So apparently the app is running. Maybe we can just search for it up. Okay, it's, oh, there we go. Okay, beautiful. We've got the splash screen exactly how we wanted it to be. And what the heck is happening? All right, let's have a look. So we've got our right button here, which is blue. It's not black. We also have our text field, but you can see it's coming out of the screen. Like I mentioned, stuff will be jumbled up. All right, so obviously it's not looking too good. Let's find out what will happen if we click right now. And I can't tell if that's just the app crashing or if nothing happened. Okay, well, nothing happened, which is not a good thing. We wanted it to start an NFC session. And also I can't dismiss my keyboard. So we're gonna be working on this stuff. And that's why, like, you know, you think you finish something, you get started and it's not working. We've been live for now for quite a bit, like half an hour. Let's get started. So first of all, let's see if we got any error message. And we actually did not get any error message. It just didn't work properly. So what I'll do is I'll click on my screen over here and I'll click add missing constraints, and that would have added constraints to my UI, which means that if I run this app now, and come over here, you can see that nothing is going over the screen. Like the first time we ran this, it was actually outside of the screen. Now it's not like that. But we've missed out on our image. So let's have a look at why this happened, and maybe it's time that we actually put the constraints manually rather than letting it do it automatic, basically. So I'm going to click on clear constraints, and I'm actually going to select iPhone 13 Pro, which is the same size as the iPhone 12 or an 11 Pro, which is the iPhone that I have. And this will hopefully give me a better look at how things are looking. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to keep it like this, like that. And let's create the constraints based on this view. So I'll click add missing constraints. Again, let's give this one more go. If it doesn't look good, we're going to do it manually. Let's have a look. Amazing. We've got our image, we've got our text field, and we've got our button, which for some reason at the moment doesn't actually do anything. So it sounds like something that we can work on. Also, I just realized that this button is not in the center. All right, let's do this again. Clear constraints, add missing constraints. All right, so let's actually see why this button is not doing anything. And also, I'm going to set up the background as black for this because otherwise it's just looking as blue. And now if I run this, it's still black. All right, we'll figure out why it's actually still black. We'll figure out why it's blue instead. But let's open our assistant view, and we can see here that our button is connected, but nothing is actually starting. And I think this is because we didn't let the session begin. So if I come over here and I'll type in session.begin session, and I run this, begin, sorry. Now if I run it, okay, now if I click right now, session invalidated unexpectedly. It does work, it just says session invalidated unexpectedly, and I think that's just because we don't have anything here. So let's try and put something tapaway.com.au, and okay, so it's not working. I think this could be because I just have my phone connected. So let me try this. I'm going to remove my phone, and it's also still not working. So we'll figure out why it's not working. Let's just restart my phone as well, because NFC sessions, a lot of the time, they actually have an issue with the phone as well. Going back, yes, we understand that I've disconnected. Now, let's go to the info.plist, and I'm going to be clicking on the plus icon, and I'll say privacy, and then I'll say NFC scan usage description, and I'll write this app requires access to your NFC capabilities. Okay, I think this could fix the problem. I'm just waiting for my phone to actually restart again. But in the meantime, what we can do is we can actually check if we added NFC capabilities, and we actually didn't. So I'm going to click on the plus icon, and I'll type in near field communication. I'll double click on this. Okay, and I'm pretty positive that now that we've added this stuff, it will actually work properly and we'll be able to write to our NFC tag. But my iPhone just started now. So now I'll connect my iPhone again to the project, and you should be able to see it in just a second. David Bull, this is iPhone. And you can see my iPhone now. So I'm just gonna run it again. Build succeeded. So it should appear here in any second now. And I can see that there's like 2 viewers live right now. Can you please just write something? It's like my second live. It would mean a lot. Anyways, this is starting now. There we go. And now if I click on right now, nice. You can see that we actually have an NFC session working. So let's see if it actually does the job properly. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to type in the website link. So I'll just put any website. I'm obviously putting my own website, .com.au. And this is where you can actually contact me and hire me. I'll click on right now. I'll bring the NFC tag close to the iPhone. It's not doing anything, but usually if it's already doing that, the problem is with the NFC tag and not the actual app. So I'm checking to see if I've got any other NFC tags. Let's have a look if I have another app over here. Tag info, for example, scan and launch. Alright, so this one is working. What about scan and write? New link. So this is basically the same features that we're creating right now. Ooh, okay. So www. Okay, so that app's crashing, which I didn't create, but let's try our app again and see if it will work. Okay. Oh, it worked. See, usually there's just a problem with the NFC tag itself. And now if I bring the NFC tag, it will actually show a notification, but I think it will not show it here because I'm connected. So I'm gonna disconnect my phone. Yep, there we go. So I hope you can see this. Let me put my face somewhere else so you can see it. I'll put it like right here. And if I now bring this NFC tag to the phone, you can see that a link notification appears, and if I click on it, it will take me to the link on this NFC tag, as you can see right here. And you can do it as many times as you want, and it will still also appear again. There we go. So this is now done. There's just a few things that I really would like to get done before we end the live stream, and that is just putting a logo for this app, because right now you can see it looks white. It just doesn't look too good. So to add this, we are again going to go to assets, and we're going to go over here and we're going to create a sizing for each one of these. Now to do this, I use an app called icon resizing. Icon set creator, sorry. There we go. And basically we need to add the image here, and it will just create all these sizes for us. But first we need to take a boxed image of the logo that we want, which for some reason I just can't find it. Yeah, actually we will just want to open it, and I'll do this exactly like this. Okay, take an image, and it is this one. We're gonna drag it just over here, we'll click go, and we can go to work, and I'll save it in this project. So this project is called XIAZU, which is just the name of this app. Open, and now I'll open it, and we will see that we've got all these generated for us. So now this is actually probably my favorite part of the app, and that is we're going to select them. Yeah, thanks. All of them, and we're just gonna drag them into our screen. And now we've got it for each size. We just have to do some manually that the computer can't detect, like these ones. They are usually easy to do. Some of them get a little bit annoying, and you will see why, because we're about to finish all of these, and then we're just gonna have few left, which we have to keep on trying and getting exactly the same. So we've got 40 by 40, 29 by 21, 9, 58, and 80. So again, let's just make this smaller. And I usually just go in order. So let's have a look. Does this fit? Does it fit here? Does it fit there? Does it fit there? Obviously it will not. And so I'll go to the second one. Does it fit here? Oh wow, it actually did fit. Now we're gonna keep going. 29, 58, 80, not working. And you can see that, you know, sometimes things are just inconvenient. Even if you manage to, oh, we got this one. Even if you manage to actually write the app properly, if you manage to get the code correctly, things will still get annoying sometimes. Like, this is not a programming thing. It's not really a programming challenge, but it's still just a challenge that you'll find in your job. And again, this is why I wanted to do this live, so you can see that things just go wrong. You don't, it doesn't reflect on you that much. Anyways, I'm gonna run this app, and now that I'm gonna run it, you will be able to see the app icon. How cool is that? And how quickly was it as well? It didn't really take us that much time at all. So now there's just something that I really want to fix, and that is the button seems to be black. It starts off being blue. I'm not sure if this is just a glitch in my actual phone or this is what it is. But either way, there is just something else that I want to do, and that is I want to be able to hide the keyboard. Like, if you type this right now, you actually can't hide the keyboard, and I guess it might not necessarily actually be a problem. But anyways, that's how it is now. We will leave it. We'll do it for the next episode. But basically, that's it for now. You can see that this is, if we go back to our project description here, you can see that we've created everything so far. So we have our splash screen, and if I open it, it just opens at the beginning. We then have our button right here, and text field and name. We then have the error messages, which are correct. And the last thing is maybe just the instructions page, which I will be going over again in another tutorial maybe. But for the live screen, I just wanted to show you how I would start a project from Fiverr, and I would end it as well. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you did enjoy this episode. Again, I'm still learning how to do these lives better. If you liked it, please just say something in the comments below. Thank you for watching.